I think because the WrestleMania 13 match with Bret Hart and Stone Cold is so good and so iconic with that image of Stone Cold bleeding there, that a lot of people forget that you're a big part of that match and you're right there as everything's happening.
It was fun. That was when I remember when I was asked to do that match.
And it's before you had wrestled, right?
Yeah, it was. I hadn't done anything. I did something with Vernon a little bit, Vernon White, but nothing. I hadn't been introduced yet. Like, I hadn't really been on the scene. And so when they asked me to do it, and this was Bret Hart and Stone Cold, and I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, there's going to be a referee doing this? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not a referee. And they're like, no, we think it'd be great, man. It would add that thing to it. Like, you're going to make sure that nobody gets out of line, and you're going to regulate these matches. And I'm like, I was nervous. I mean, this is Bret Hart and Stone Cold. Like, these guys are like it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I'm so scared I was going to screw up the match or miss something, because I never refed. I'm not a referee. And I remember going into that, and I'm thinking to myself, man, well, I guess I'm going to find out whether I'm staying or going, because if I screw this up, I'm gone. There's no way I recover from this. And so I went in and just like kept thinking to myself, all right. And I tell you the reason why I was more nervous was because I didn't know if I could act, if I could make things with my facial expressions, or, doing what those guys do so good.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if I could do that, because everything I'd done to that point was legit. I knocked the heck out of people, and I meant what I meant.
Yeah.
And now I got to go in and I got to do something that I don't know if I can do at this level. And so I remember going in there, and I would say probably a minute and a half into the match, I completely forgot anything, everything. I mean, it was like I was actually refereeing an MMA match. I mean, I literally went from being nervous, not knowing whether I could do this or not, to I'm in it. And it's a fight. These guys are fighting. I didn't have to change anything from what I knew.
Yeah.
My career in MMA, when I was in there with those guys, they were hitting each other. They were putting these moves on one another. And I kept thinking to myself, he's going to tap. He's got to tap. Like, he's literally tearing him up. And then all of a sudden he would reverse it. And I was like, I was into it as much as the fans were. Like, it was that legit to me. And I was standing that close to him. And I know those guys beat the hell out of one another.
Do you remember looking at Stone Cold, maybe in the eyes, or looking at his face when the blood was pouring down him?
Dude, I don't care what anybody says. I mean, I was there. I reffed that match. Those guys beat the hell out of one another. And Stone Cold, that took something out of Bret Hart and Stone Cold, both of them, because with me being in there, those guys, I know, those guys wanted to make sure that this Ken Shamrock's walking into my world now.
Yeah. Bret Hart's calling you now.
Yeah, hang on a second. I turned it off, but maybe let me turn this off real quick. Yeah, but I'm telling you, that was